Why did the Greek and Norse religions we now refer to as mythology fall off so badly? The short answer is Christianity, but how did every single European religion convert to Christianity? The short answer to that one is because Christianity is a universal religion, meaning that everyone can be a part of it, and Christians are willing to die for what they believe in, whereas a lot of pagans are not necessarily willing to do that. By the middle of the 1st century, we know that these Christian populations were popping up all over the Mediterranean, particularly in Greece and Rome, places where the Greco-Roman religion was practiced, and Christianity was hotly persecuted at first under emperors like Nero in the 1st century AD, all the way to emperors like Diocletian at the beginning of the 4th century, and it wasn't until Constantine came around that Romans gave Christians religious tolerance, which basically just meant that they wouldn't be persecuted anymore, they wouldn't be killed for their religion. But the only reason that we got to that place in the first place was because Christians were willing to go to the death and not convert to the Roman state religion. And then a few years later, we have the Emperor Theodosius, who enacts the Edict of Thessalonica, which basically makes Christianity the Roman state religion. Pretty soon after, temples in Greece and Rome and the surrounding areas of the Roman Empire were all being closed, torn down, or converted into Christian churches. At its height, the Roman Empire spread as far west as Spain and Portugal and as far north as Britain, but it kind of ends here at Germany. So by this point, basically all of the Germanic pagan religions had been abolished by Christianity because Christians had come in there and they converted their kings, and when kings convert to a religion, all of the people convert to a religion as well. How were they able to convince the kings to get baptized and convert to Christianity? Oftentimes by persuasion, because Christians were a pretty pacifistic group of people, but also oftentimes it was, by power and force as well. The Roman Empire was still an empire. But the Norse religion was able to last a little bit longer because, as you can see, Germany is kind of like the end of the northern mainland continent, and then you have Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and these places. It wasn't until the Vikings from this place sailed over to Britain in the 9th and 10th centuries that they interacted with Christians for the first time and then were forced to convert. Forced or coerced, take your pick, doesn't really matter. Like I said, moral of the story is Christianity is a universal religion, so you can teach anybody about Christian morality and Christian ethics, and they can pretty much get on board. And then you can also tell them that salvation is available to them so long as they choose it. You don't have to be born into a certain race or class or ethnicity or anything like that. So that's really easy for people to get on board with. And also the fact that a religion that stemmed from a little place in the Middle East was able to conquer all of Europe to a degree was pretty convincing for a lot of people. They're like, there's got to be something to this. Your God is clearly stronger than my God. Therefore, my God either does not exist or he's just not as powerful as yours. I'm going to worship the most powerful God I possibly can. Why would I not? That would be ridiculous not to. The other reason that Christianity was able to sort of sweep away paganism was because paganism is entirely decentralized. It's completely focused, like I said, on your nationality or ethnicity or even your class. And for that reason, the religion at large is always going to remain small because it only applies to a very succinct group of people. And all of the people who practiced the Norse religion, for example, were never going to overpower all of Western Christianity. And yeah, you kind of get the picture. And thus, you have a predominantly Christian continent of Europe until obviously the rise of Islam and, other things like that.